Peace, love, and Black Power family. Welcome to another episode of Get This Wisdom Live. I am your co-host for the evening, Shakti Sterner, and I'm like a big ball of energy right now. I'm super excited. First off, as you can see right now, we have our brother Blue Pill on with us tonight. But tonight's episode is going to be discussing Fear of a Black Planet Part 2, and that features Blue Pill, Red Pill, and Professor Griff. And we also have on tonight the co-host of tonight's episode, Brian, the creator. He is the creative director of Get This Wisdom magazine. He's one of the owners, and he's also a part of Revolutionary Mind Cinema. And I'm just like I'm like a kid in a candy store right now, about to get all this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding from these brothers. So
Yeah, it is.
so for the half of individual that lives all the way in the backwoods back here that doesn't know either of you, do you mind telling the listeners who you are? We'll start with Brian, and then we're swinging all over the Blue Pill.
Okay. Say I'm Brian, the creator Liggins. I'm the director of creation at Get This Wisdom. I'm also the director and founder of Blue Peak Branding and Marketing, which is also a design and branding specialist team. I'm also a member of Revolutionary Mind Cinema, and that's it. It's me in a nutshell.
Brian, we having a hard time hearing you right now.
Okay. Let me try. Is that working a little bit better?
Yeah, a little bit better. Yes,
Okay.
on my end.
Okay, groovy. So yeah. So let me say it again.
Yeah,
I'm Brian.
better.
I'm Brian, the creator Liggins. I'm the founder of Blue Beak Branding and Marketing. I'm the design director at Get This Wisdom magazine, and I'm also a creator with Revolutionary Mind Cinema.
Dope, dope. I heard you loud and clear. Did you hear him, Shakti?
Yes, I heard him
Okay.
indeed. So
Indeed.
I'm definitely excited. Thank you, Brian, for telling the viewers who you are. Blue Pill,
Yes, peace.
you mind giving us an introduction for those of us who just don't happen to know who you are?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right, peace to you and yours, family. I am the blue pill, one half of the twin pillars. My brother, my twin is the red pill. And, we are entrepreneurs, content creators, um, and, I guess a few other things in this community. uh, and abroad. You know, did a few things, got a few more to do. Know the Ledge Media is our brand, and we've collaborated with multiple people that have platforms here in the YouTube sphere, whether that be Black News 101 or Black Magic 363. You know what I'm saying? And if anybody wants to familiarize themselves with our archive of work, they could go through YouTube. You could go right on Blog Talk and look up Know the Ledge Radio. We did that for 7 years. Hundreds of videos on YouTube at this particular point, over 24 million views. So, information is out there.
Dope.
So, Brian, did you have anything you wanted to kick it with Blue Pill about real quick?
Uh, I don't know if you even remember me, Blue. Do you remember meeting me in Louisville, man? When you last time you and Red was in the Ville, I stepped to you for a second right at the end. We was in the little building, the little small
The
space
the
we was
the
in.
the walk up, the upstairs part
Yeah, the walk up.
on that
Yeah,
Friday when we did the meet and greet. I remember.
thanks. Yeah, that was me. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, man, it's cool. It's good to talk to y'all, man. I didn't expect you to be on. So like I come prepared with a whole line of questions, man. It's good, definitely good to talk to you, man, because we didn't get the dialogue much at that moment. They was like kicking us out at the time. So
Yeah, they was
you know,
pushing. We had a limit up in that spot.
but yeah,
I
man.
remember.
So I didn't really know that you was down with the fear of a black planet too. So I know the first one was about what was in 2010. Like I'm
Yeah.
trying to figure out like what's the back
eons
like?
ago.
What led to the yeah exactly like what led to the reboot of that? Like why is it it's
Well,
coming back up again?
I think that, at the time that we did it, it was pertinent. You know what I'm saying? Even if people wasn't necessarily jacking for it at that time because Obama was president. So the lulling and the sleeping started taking place. It was setting in. I mean, it was a packed house. People was hanging out of the reams or what have you. But I think during that time, that's when, quietly people was transitioning from their consciousness. This was the height of, it's hard to believe to say that that was the height of consciousness because that was pretty much before the YouTube era. The YouTube era kind of ushered in a whole new phase of consciousness. But in terms of the pre social media consciousness, 2010 was like the height of it, and it was a shift in the community. You know what I'm saying? Some people went one direction and other people went the other. Uh, at that time, there was a lot of information that was being disseminated. We spoke about hip hop. We put forth a lot of prophecies that have come to pass. And I think that with all good prophecies, you got to give it some time. So time wise, I think that we have allowed enough time to pass to not only see the majority of the stuff manifest, but also we've accumulated a cachet of an entirely new talking points. You know what I'm saying? We've watched this thing progress. And when I'm saying progress, I don't necessarily mean in forward progression. Progression just means move. Whether something's moving forward or backwards, it's still moving.
Thanks.
So we've watched the progression of, what I'm saying, all of these talking points that were minuscule at the time when we were talking about certain things in 2010. The family couldn't quite see them. Now they're full blown. You know what I'm saying? Now they're undeniable. Now you can't say, oh, you know, that was just a fad or it was just gonna be a something to come and pass. It's like no, because we were reluctant and we fell asleep all the way back then. That's why a lot of this shit is off the chain now, and they pointing at little children with, rainbow color hair, and they in a judgment. How did it get this way? How you think it got this way, nigga? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because you went the
Yeah.
hell to sleep before 2010. But like I said, 2010 was pretty much when I saw that people was making their own decisions. And they was following the narrative that we live in a post-racial society, and they were just like, "Look, man, give Obama a chance. You know, you guys are always being pessimistic with your worldviews and shit like that." So now we here, and every goddamn thing that we said was about to take place already took place. So we're gonna tell people what's gonna take place for the next 3 and 4 or 5 years. Granted, if they don't get their act together. And some of this shit, even if they still get their act together, some of this stuff is already set in stone and is fully in motion. But it always beats to be abreast and aware. You know, I think that when you have clarity of a particular topic, you know what I'm saying, even if it affects you in a particular way, it's going to affect you a lot less once you kind of understand the dynamics of what's taking place, you know?
Okay.
So, it's a perfect time. It's a perfect time to have this dialogue. You know what I
Okay.
mean? I
Facts.
think that everybody, they're currently on their wave, woke movement. You know what I'm saying? They're on that wave right now. So, you know,
Okay. So with that being, because like I was just I had a conversation on it was on. I think it was on. It was on Skin is My Sin radio, and we was talking about if the conscious movement is dead or dying. You know, and which what I see is a lot of cats who like get burnt out, who's getting burnt out. Like you said, y'all was we talked about the first Fear of a Black Planet being in 2010, that being so long ago. A lot of the cats who was involved with that or who might have just woke up then, now they starting to get burnt out and they start to have all this bitterness, and they come up with these terms that they start trying to scrutinize people with and start as more people get into that movement, it's starting to have a bad name. It's getting a bad reputation. You know what I'm saying? It's getting watered down. Like, what would be your thoughts on that?
I mean, you know, my whole thing is like, and I think I've said this before, when you don't have a clear vision, let alone a collective one. You know what I'm saying? When you don't really have a clear vision as to what your trajectory is, where you're headed, what your 5, 10, 15, 30, 100, 500 year plan is, you're just expending energy. You know what I'm saying? So this community is comprised of geniuses, some people who have a lot of potential. They have different people bring different things to the table. Some people have an exquisite amount of information in their head. Others have unprecedented zeal to learn. You know what I'm saying? Other people are, attuned for the times. They come, they fucking channeling, and they're reading hieroglyphs and all types of shit. It's a
Right.
conglomeration of all different sorts of people that have these superpowers, and then other people that have potential to have superpowers awakened and unlocked. But there's no collective vision as to where these powers kind of conjoin to push forward. Even with I've said it. I think I even mentioned it in the interview that I did in Get Wisdom magazine. Even in terms of Black liberation, what does it look like? Like, people had their 2 week rush to Wakanda, Wakanda forever and shit like that.
Facts.
A fucking virtual hashtag movement, granted, but nonetheless, like, what is the vision? You know what I'm saying? Does Black liberation lead up to Wakanda? Is that the end result of the dream of Black liberation of the Pan African movement? You know what I'm saying? And I would love to
Right.
pose. I have 100 fucking questions that I need to pose in regards to that. If that's the answer, because it's not as difficult as it seems. We don't even have a vision, let alone a checklist to say, well, this ain't been done and that ain't been done, and we're 5 years removed from doing this or that. Like, niggas don't even know where they want to do, where they want to go, what they want to do. But we have enough time to point fingers to say, oh, what we're not doing, and the community's not going forward, and there's no this and there's no that. And I think, again, that's a direct result of the leadership, if you will, not having a clear, concise goal and objective as to where the people should be headed 5, 10, 15, 20, 50, 100, 500 years from now. So, you know how they say that the idle mind is is the devil's playground?
Yeah.
Well, apply that to the community, and then you can get a general idea of why this is fit energy, this energy that turns people against one another, this disruptive energy, you know what I'm saying? This interference, this static interference is so well rooted in this community because there's no collective direction. Even in the little pockets, the Moors don't have a collective direction. From what I understand, the RBG, I haven't heard what the collective direction is. Hebrews, I don't know. Are they waiting on, some of them waiting on Jesus? Others are waiting on, I don't know.
Facts. I
Rastas,
think
do they have a second coming that, or they waiting on? Like, I don't know what these niggas is waiting on. You know what I'm saying? The
right.
Christians is in their bag. They watching bombs drop in Damascus. They like, okay, we're a little bit closer. That gives them, uh, you know what I'm saying? That reaffirms their belief systems because they're like, oh shit, that's Armageddon. These are the signs. They could go to a book and make references. But outside of Wakanda, I don't know, what the collective Negro vision is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And we already have unprecedented amount of energy based on our melanin intake, or the best in our melanin and the sun intake. We are storehousing energy and information, but we're not converting it or utilizing it, and it's becoming to our detriment at this particular point. You know, I don't think that the proper utilization of our genius is being met, and as a
Facts.
result, the stuff that will make you geniuses in one regard will turn you crazy in another if you're not utilizing that information, those downloads, because the universe conspires for your success at all times. But it's only going to give you but so many so many alley oops. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Before the rim starts coming down on your head.
Okay. Okay. So like That's dope.
So
I like the way you put that.
so we're identifying the maladies and the breakdowns that come with that. We spending a lot of time focusing on seeing, okay, well, this person is going crazy, and this person is spiraling out of control, and this system is breaking apart, and all of those are symptomatic. You know what I'm saying? Those are all symptoms of, like I said, having platforms and not doing anything with them, or not having a plan for the people, but calling yourself a leader, and then the people not demanding these plans from their leadership, right?
Right.
In these very precarious, interesting times, you know, excluding the fact that people don't believe in the Bible, we still live in biblical times for what it's worth. Whether these are concocted biblical times or whether it's the shit that your nana used to always tell you about. Nonetheless, the day that we're alive is the most important time ever on the planet. Not 3,000 years ago, not 5,000 years ago, not yesterday, right now. you know
Facts.
so the potential and the responsibility that comes along with that, with capturing this moment and extending this moment 100 years into the future, 500, because we got children or we got people that we say that we care about. So why aren't we exhausting our life force energy to put it on for our people, to leave something that's monumental not only for ourselves but for our progeny, and putting fucking a permanent dent in the very system that we complain so much about. So
And when you bring that up, this is how like I see it, like because like we lack diplomacy so tough, and I feel like us being creatures of habit, we have to like get in a rhythm. And I'm a business person, like I'm all about economics and stuff, and I always apply things to business. I look at family
right,
like a business and everything. But
it
when
is.
you think about like if you got who's running everything right now, we always talk about how the corporations are running everything. So if the corporations are running everything, why do we keep putting so much time and energy into small black businesses and not merging them together, just like those cable companies just did? You see those cable companies merge together, then they got legislative power to pass that law so that they, the web neutrality thing. So look at how much they can do when they come together, and we just seem not to be going in that direction. But if we put all our stuff together, like even if it's something as simple as like clothing brands, like I have a clothing brand, I know you and Red sell clothes, Ron Green sells clothes, What's Up African. So if you put all those together, not the businesses but the manufacturing power, then
Manufacturing, yeah,
yeah,
manufacturing. If
we'll
we
be
had a
able to do
warehouse
all
that
that.
cranked all our stuff out, if we went to Haiti, you know what I'm saying? Because that's where they got it for the low, rather than going to China. If we went right to Haiti, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we could all be cranking out of the same warehouse, empowering the family over there, creating giving the other young entrepreneurs that are looking at us in the audience, because there's hundreds of them that are observing, you know, that's like, yo, that's the way to go. You could go to my people. They can make socks for you. They can make boxes. Like, we could revolutionize, some of the rudimentary aspects of the daily rituals that we do, like tank tops, underwear, socks.
Yeah.
We don't even study. Did as part of our daily really pretty much do anything without. You know what I mean? Like, let's
Fact,
focus on that. Let's take that back. And it's $1 billion right there.
facts.
So yeah, I mean, all of that needs to be done. You know what I'm saying? But that's work. People got to come to the table, egos aside. People got to trust one another. One thing that I observed about our people through my years of observation is that we're good to create a spark, but we can't hold a charge. You know
Mm,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
We could spark charge. So, anything that we're talking about that deals with a long-term commitment, sacrifice, where, you know what I'm saying, your business might necessarily, you might have to take a hit the first month or two.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I think in the lessons they call it, you got to go through hell to get right. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not enough of us are willing to make the right sacrifices. To be like, you know what? I'll start. My stomach is just gonna have to feel it. But the end result, the end goal, the end game, my vision, It's clear and concise. You know, it's even clearer when I'm fasting. My stomach pain is hurting. I
Mm.
even get more of a clearer vision, more determination, more of a rush. I become more steadfast. I don't really, you know what I mean? Like we don't toil like that anymore. We don't push forward. We have a level of comfortability in the country that's become a detriment to our success and to our progression. Like we're comfortable, complaining at the same time, but hella comfortable. Like we complain with our feet up.
Hmm. Facts.
We complain with our feet up, bro. You know
Facts.
what I'm saying? With socks on. Other people got blisters on their shit, you know, and they complaining about that level of discomfort. We got our feet up, complaining because we want the lace edition lazy boy. You know what I'm saying? This shit don't go
Yeah.
back far enough. I hate the system.
Man, and the black that's like the Black Panther plight. Like that's what I how I saw it. Like when people show that we can almost not even start businesses and just take donations for the price of a movie ticket. You know what I'm saying? Like people won't even donate the price of a movie ticket to a business so it can hire their kids. You know what I'm saying? But they
Bruh,
talking about they don't
they
want to
they
hire
want your
anybody.
mission statement. They want your mission, which is cool. They want to see the executive summary, your board of directors. You got to send in the bio. I'm talking. If you
Facts.
ask someone for a $35 donation, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They want tax forms.
They want to
You
know
dig
where
what
the,
I'm
yeah, where
saying?
all the money's
Hey,
going,
yo,
every
turn
cent.
it. Yeah, yeah. You gotta show them receipts. They want to like turn the camera on. I want to, you know what I'm saying? They like show me every room. Let me make sure ain't no white bitches in there.
Facts. Bass.
Here, son, just for $35, $20. Like, yeah. But you know, Disney got it. They're gonna get it next month or later on this month when Avengers come out. It's already put aside. Like it's money in the banks allocated. It's like, yeah, we there. We're there for it. So,
That's
but what you
crazy,
got?
yo. We have so Shakti. We have we heard from Blue and Griff? Are we still rocking without them?
No, we haven't heard from Red and Griff yet, but they'll be on soon. I have a question for Blue
Red,
Pill
yeah,
though.
red.
Okay.
I'm sitting
Yes,
back
indeed.
listening, Blue.
Okay.
And I'm a fan of the Law of 44, right?
Yeah, that
So
thing
do you
there.
mind can you describe the Law of 44 for the listeners in like 5 sentences or so? I know it's like hours and hours and hours upon
It, it
research and
is.
stuff like that, but it's some
The last
juicy
lecture I
stuff.
did, yeah, it was 8 hours. I will try as best as I can to summarize the fact that um, my research has led me to conclude that we live in a simulation. You know what I'm saying? Um, Even this religious idea about what God is and how it was sold to the world or sold to our people in particular, you know, they say that even in that respect that you're still a simulation in the mind of God. You know what I'm saying? So you're living in somebody else's matrix. Um, what the law of 44 amounts to is just a way to go about proving that, you know. And initially it was my way of going about proving it to myself because I needed to make sure that I wasn't crazy and the things that I was seeing, you know what I'm saying, made sense consecutively. So when you see a pattern and it repeats itself about 100 times, you know what I'm saying, you're comfortable enough to say, oh yeah, that's something there. I'm not just tripping. You know what I'm saying? This is just not a coincidence or this is not my mind just playing tricks on me. So, you know, I mean, the easiest way to conclude it and break it down is that numbers are intelligent. You know what I'm saying? Numbers are definitely a reflection of a universal intelligence. And I feel that the creative force of this universe communicates through numbers. And we could say shapes, but to me, shapes are numbers as well. You know what I mean? Colors colors correspond to shapes. Colors correspond to numbers. All of these things coincide and correspond. Now, to lay it out and to get into the juicy aspects and parts of it, yeah, they would definitely have to catch the lecture because we can't get into it
Facts.
right here and right now. But it's dealing with a universal galactical construct about how this place that we call home was constructed, and how it shows us evidence of at all times that we exist in parallel realities and dimensions, and sometimes they overlap, just like your electron. Is here 1 minute in the physical realm, then a second from now it traverses into another realm that we don't know what that realm is. We can't identify it. We've never followed it. You know what I'm saying? It goes and it comes back. It goes and it comes back. So if it's affecting another realm, right? Because it could be identified as matter, is going somewhere, it exists. When it's here, it's considered matter. So when it's going somewhere else, is it having tangible effects on another reality? Then that other reality by proxy is having tangible effects on us. You know?
Facts.
Indeed.
So
So where can the
uh,
family, get a hold to the lecture? When can they expect that
um
to be available for the public?
yeah, I did a few lectures on it, you know what I'm saying, but I pulled them all off the internet. Um and I'm working on something a little bit more secure. I started seeing people running with the you know, very high up there, and I'm like, I gotta protect, privacy is your intellectual property, and you gotta find ways to go about protecting that because I saw that the higher ups was just willing to just steal my information and run with it and never give me no credit. So
I think we have a huge problem with
couldn't
that too,
just
just in
yeah,
general inside
and
of this.
yeah, right now, yeah, the Hollywood consciousness, that's all of that wave that's going on. These niggas are sitting back and they jacking everything. You know what I'm saying? They jacking everything. They're not giving nobody no credit, and they run with pieces and parcels of everyone's information and cutting and remixing it and repackaging it and getting out there and trying to sound fucking cute and smart and everything, and quote unquote conscious. They riding the wave.
Yeah,
So, and people think it's so cute. Like, oh my God, this person is woke. I'm like, no, this nigga's a thief. He's a fucking artist. I mean, the art of stealing is artistry. You know what I'm saying? Like, what artists don't steal? I get it, granted, I understand it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm not going to allow my information to be siphoned off and, you know, repackaged. And every time that I start talking about it, people would be like, oh, you sound like such and such. I'm like, what? And that's what
that's
happens. You know
he
what I'm
was sitting in
saying?
the lecture 3 rows back.
Huh?
Said he was sitting in the lecture 3 years. I mean, 3 rows back. He was at your lecture 3 rows back. And they saying he sound like him,
He
but he sound
he
like you.
he had somebody in the lecture. He had somebody in the lecture taping. You know what I mean? And they sent it
Yeah,
out. Like I've been even the first fear of a black planet I was for in 2010, and we was making prophecies based on it back then, and all of that stuff has come to pass. You know what I mean? Just a little too slow. You know what I mean? Like they really don't catch on. And I was telling them back then, like, look, you need to catch this. Don't let me go over your head and go straight to the White House, because when they get this information, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna
yeah,
use it totally differently. Like when you're providing code to a person, you don't know how to decipher in that code. You know what I mean? I could be giving them the keys to the universe and not even know it. You know what I mean? I could figure out what the hell I'm talking about, or the gravity of what I'm saying 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years from now. And by then it'd be too late. These people don't already took the information. Look, they got the D-Wave computer. They're already time traveling. They're already doing all sorts of quantum divination with these computers. You know what I'm saying? Jumping into realms. We not part of this conversation. We still trying to figure out this earthly shit, transcend it.
Facts.
As slow as we say that we are, as slow as we say that they are, is devoid of spirit and soul enough to say about them. God damn it, they got a leg in the race. You know what I'm saying? And they planet jumping, That they doing all kind of shit, and we still talking about police shooting black people. Like
Going in a
they gotta
circle,
stop
hitting
in
the
the
reset
'60s.
button.
Gotta stop. You know what I'm saying? I think what
Facts.
Nas said, we playing with PlayStation, they playing on space stations. Like it's not cute. It's not cool at all. Like
That's heavy.
you know what I mean? And information to get us there, but I don't even know at this particular point, like even how people like, are they even jacking for information? Like, how do they prioritize information? Um, is it important? Is it entertainment at this point? You know what I'm saying? Like, is this people's
Mm.
personal salvation? Are they utilizing it to free their own selves mentally and empower their family? Or they just doing this shit to say, oh, I know that too, or I heard that, or I seen that. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are some weird times.
It'd
These
be
are
a lot of
beautiful
that though,
times,
to be quite
but
honest.
yeah,
Like it'd be a lot of that. The cats who just see it like because they want
it's
to know it too.
it's weird. It's weird. I used to be on the periphery of these conversations about the YouTube era of consciousness. I didn't quite get everything that was being said about that because until like last year, I never watched YouTube. I had no idea what was going on YouTube. I just used to my damn show was not watching what else nobody else was doing. I didn't have the time. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't have the time.
Mm.
So as of recently, when I started like delving into YouTube to everybody else has been talking about, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. You know,
Yeah,
like people is getting bits and pieces of information, and if they don't have it in themselves to dig a little bit deeper, to do the research, to read these books, to visit some of these places, dive in, or just to be still enough to get in contact with your own self. Like, for instance, like a lot of books that I read, I have read them initially when I was incarcerated, right, in the mid 90s. And I was at such peace in that environment, right? Because I was at peace, able to like really still my mind and just find a different level of discipline. I had a communication with my own higher self. I would read these books, my spirit would be like, that's some BS right there. You know what I'm saying? That they slipped that in. Don't even go for that. But that thing right there, you need to study more of that. Like, you got to be still enough. You got to be in contact with yourself enough that your big homie is checking for you. You know, you have to have that relationship with that voice in your head, with your higher form. You know, you have to really get into this. Like, you got to dive in. It's not surface. You know what I'm saying? The shit goes way deeper than that.
right.
And if you're not having these spiritual experiences with your own self, not a fictional being in the sky, then it's like I don't really know if that switch is all the way on. And then if that switch ain't all the way on, I don't know who's responsible for navigating you through the maze. Because if it's one of these niggas on YouTube,
Hmm.
oh my God,
Yeah, no telling where
I
you
really
end
do
up.
feel. Yeah, I know telling where you're gonna end up. I feel for you. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Facts. Yeah.
Definitely. So, Blue, I'm sitting back. You're one of my teachers. Red's one of my teachers. You all come from an era of consciousness where the work was genuine, the work was sincere. People were actually excited to learn, excited to grow, excited to elevate. Now you got all
It
this
was.
superficial mess going on, such as the YouTube scholars. What would you say to those who are just now coming into consciousness that are basically being victims to YouTube scholars, like they're not getting the real deal, just as what you said? What would you say to those newborns in the mind who are just now being reborn again? What piece of advice would you give them to put them on the right path?
Protect your neck and guard your grill. Like, you have to use the same criteria that you did coming from the same institutions that you coming from. Case in point, if you was in church, right? That's why I said it's so important to be in constant communication with that own voice in your head. Like, have you ever been in church and you hear the preacher say something and that voice be like, "That's some bullshit." He's said, that's what his personal gain. Like, you know, he's just slipped that in there so he could sound good, or he's setting you up for a segue for him to ask you for some change for some. It's all kind of blinds that people do so they can make something that's not personal. So they could put a little cut in it. You know what I mean? So discernment is the number one thing that anybody coming into this community has to develop. They have to develop a level of discernment. You know what I'm saying? Because these niggas is fast talkers. A lot of them are evil geniuses. So they're very smart. You know what I'm saying? They just don't have no good intentions. They don't intend on doing anything that they say that they're going to, or however they present, because these niggas is not telling you they're not telling you they're gonna do anything. They don't have to tell you they're gonna do anything. They just got to present themselves in the mold of what you feel this person looks like. Oh, he sounds like he could be the next Khaled, right? They just got to they just got to present themselves in the mold of something that's relatable to you, and your guards is down and your panties is down and everything else is fucking down, and you know this nigga is mentally running all up in you. You know what I mean? And then next thing you sending out the SOS. You feel me? So before we even get to that point, like it's all It's like what they said about Wakanda or Black Panther. They're like, yo, we going to see that shit because this is really the first time that we got to see ourselves on camera, on film, on screen, and we was doing things. It's the same thing with YouTube niggas with the consciousness. It's the first time some of these people hear our people speak like this. You know what I'm saying? And in some respects, look like this. Adorned with all sorts of regalia, regal shit on from our glorious past, and they're speaking about dates, times, and names that you've never heard of, and they saying it so eloquently. The shit is mesmerizing. So a lot of people are just mesmerized by the fact that they've never seen this before. They've never heard anything like this. And in the modern context, people are seeing people that look like them, that are part of their cultural dynamic speak like this. And this is not what we was raised on. Like, hip hop don't prepare us for this necessarily. To see a dude with face tats, start reeling off about the war that we had in 800 BC, you know what I'm saying, in Lower Kemet, like, that shit could be mesmerizing. It could really engage a person and have somebody stuck for a second. But you gotta have discernment, you know what I'm saying? Like, learning something is cool. Information is cool. You have resources available to you. You could do a little deeper research. You could read a book, or you could Google it and read everything available on it. And then you got to listen to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Then you got to sit down and meditate on it and listen to yourself. But especially for the ones that are coming along and they are offering direction, like follow me. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Come with me to the jungles or shit like that. You know what I mean? And people are being taken advantage of, out of the jurisdiction of where they could get some sort of remedy from their own family or their homies or their friends. That's a scary situation when you out in the jungles in Honduras or Guatemala or Costa Rica. You know what I'm saying? And you find out that the nigga that you was following is a charlatan. You feel me? Like, this is really breaking people's hearts, and this is giving the the youthful conscious movement a bad name. I ain't even got to tell you what it's doing to the whole genre of YouTube scholarship. You know,
Right.
but you got to understand. And this goes for all of us. This goes for myself included. Like, we all come from traumatized past. We all come from places where we haven't necessarily dealt with everything that has happened to us, or we haven't made amends for everything that we've done to get to the place that we are. For me to sit here and say, man, you don't know how happy I am to be alive. I'm 42 and I've survived so many fucking debacles and so many wars, and so many people had to die for me to be here. You know what I'm saying? I'm unapologetic about certain things, but at the same time, you know, there's still certain things that we need to be at peace with within our own selves. And I don't know if everybody deals with that level of openness and humanity with themselves to be like, look, you know, I'm a constant work in process and progress. You feel me? You probably shouldn't be following me right now. You know what I'm saying? You might listen to the information because it's
Facts.
heartfelt, it's coming from the heart and everything. But look, it's certain things that we still trying to figure out. And you know, your children got to figure shit out with you. That's something that they probably can't get away from. But not grown ass people. You know what I'm saying? Grown ass people should be giving you your room to figure whatever it is that you got to figure out on your own. And I think that it's nice that, you know, some of the youth are collectively coming together, and they find commonality with one another's plight. So they like, we're going to hold hands and we're going to go through this together. You feel me? But I'm not seeing too many success stories. A lot of people are bumping their heads, and then comes the acrimony, then comes the exposing. I'm gonna expose you, and everybody's pointing finger. All this shit is public information. You know, this is all on the big screen. You know, YouTube's the big screen. I'll be going over people's houses. They got that shit on 100 inch. This is
Yeah,
reality
facts.
TV to them. They looking at this
Yeah,
shit like it's real time, real, because they like, yo, this shit is better than loving hip hop.
facts.
They like, this shit is better than loving hip hop. You dig what I'm saying? So,
Right, right, right. Man, I think what we need more of is a lot of people moving instead of taking in all that. We get the information, and then everybody want to talk about the information and share it and debate it. But like we was talking about earlier when we was talking about the company that putting that into a process to where we understand what it's going to mean in the end, meaning jobs for Black people where they can still be Black, meaning what I'm saying,
yeah,
legacy for
yeah,
everybody because we can all have stock in that too. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So it just
yeah.
does a
That's
lot.
that's projection. That's having a major vision to be like, yo, 50 years from now, we'll all be good. You know what I'm saying? And when we say all, we're talking about the shareholders, the people who
Facts.
are, you know, committed to being part of this vision and willing to do whatever it takes for it to get there. We're not talking about, and then we could be philanthropic afterward and start helping people who didn't know, or slow to get on, you know what I'm saying? Or just need the help. But you got to establish something. You got to establish something. And if we're not talking about immediately getting out of this country or 10 or 15 years or 20 or 30 years, then what tools are afforded to us right here, especially under the protectorate of being a corporation that we can utilize to say, yo, I know how to build, you know, something that can't be penetrated on paper. Not something that, oh, but they're gonna bomb that, they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that. I'm like, bro, you totally missing the point. You know what I'm saying? You create
Right.
something on
So is
paper
that
that they can't bomb, that they can't dismantle, that they can't get rid of, that your babies can always get residuals from.
right?
You feel
So is
me?
that like a fear? Is that a part of like a fear of a black planet? Is it the fear? Is it more fear of a black planet
Yeah,
from the
from
other
from black
side?
people.
Yeah, for us. Okay,
How
yeah,
about
facts.
that?
Okay, yeah.
We're gonna totally
Like
talk
more
about
black
that
people.
because, yeah, since 2010 to now, there's been a larger percentage of people who knew about Tulsa now than it was back then. And that's the first thing niggas hit me with. You know what they did to Tulsa. I'm like, bro, that was 100 years ago. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? Like, you ain't willing to try again. You just gonna
right,
let that
right,
ride? It was 100 fucking years ago. Like, there's new technology that can, you know, give you a foot up in that. I'm not gonna speak too much on that, but I'm just saying, like, god damn,
right.
we defeated by our history. You're supposed to learn from your history and move forward.
Yeah, y'all should be
Not
ready to
tuck
ride
this shit and be
off the
like,
back of it.
huh?
Like they should be able to move faster. Like that should make you want to
Supposed
move faster when you found out about
supposed to
that.
move right. Supposed to
Yeah,
move faster because all of the mistakes that were made should be studied and not repeated. You dig what I'm
righteous.
saying? Which makes the next iteration of it that much stronger. We just utilize that experience to be like, that's not a go at all. I'm like, damn, like it was
Righteous.
just that easy for you to give up. Like you wasn't even willing to try.
Man,
So
I see. I've been
yeah,
sliding. I
we
don't never count my people out, man. I be trying to tell them, like, man, like everybody they get on the even the cats that we see who's falling right now, like the cats who's putting themselves in bad situations, like the Dr. Umars and cats or whatever, uh, whoever y'all want to put out there. But like people like the savior complex, they let the savior complex run the whole movement. You know what I'm saying? They giving up on the movement, like the conversation about if the conscious movement is dead
yeah,
because of a couple of bad apples, because they having a bad moment. They're not even bad apples. They just having bad moments. And y'all forgot about everything that they done taught y'all. Now y'all thought y'all taught yourselves and y'all trying to tear them down just like because they slipping right now instead of helping build them up and you know what I'm saying?
because like I said,
Set all that.
it's the false premise of leadership. It's the changing of the age and the eon. You know, where we're moving out of this singular leadership model, which is Piscean, right? Where they have a Christ figure, and we're moving into more of an Aquarian model, where it's more of a Christ consciousness, where the collective are leaders. You know what I'm saying? All of the people individualistically are leaders, and they're being furnished with bits and pieces for them to create the very people that they're ultimately going to become. So this is a difficult growing phase of people growing into themselves, but ultimately it's going to take place. And these are some of the things that are going to push people for it to happen. So it has to happen. Our brother Umar is part of a glorious story of the times. Him being a Leo, him being formatted for leadership. You know what I'm saying? Him and Polite, they came in um, during the Obama era. When the presidency was when the country was being led by a Leo as well. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? These brothers all came along and assumed leadership in this community, and he assumed leadership in the wider global community. But I think that when his term was over in terms of leadership, their term was over in terms of leadership. So we're looking at a
Mhm.
very sloppy residual fallout from that perceived premise that there'll ever be a time again when we have one leader. I don't believe that at all. I think that that time has come and passed. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I think that as much as we needed Umar for leadership, at some point, Umar needs us for leadership as well. Let me be clear
righteous.
with what I'm saying. I'm saying that Umar could be 1,000 times more powerful, if he were to implore the advice of his own constituency, if he were to implore the help of his own collective peer group. You know what I'm saying? If he would implement some of the things that have been screamed and thrown at him by the people who care the most about him. I love that brother as a brother.
Righteous.
You know what I'm saying? I watched him come through and do what he do. You know what I mean? And I
Mhm.
watched him do it in a very cavalier manner. Um, like you said, there's other things that have transpired that I might could say, oh, that's he's having a bad moment. You know what I'm saying? Because energy ebbs and flows. It's just the way things go. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I think that he's formatted with some qualities that are very dynamic for him to be a teacher. You know what I'm saying? It's what he is. He's a teacher. He's an idealist as well. Who has leadership qualities. And leadership qualities are something that we have to develop and replicate in all of our children. So even him wanting to create an academy to teach that to children, that's an amazing thing. You know what I'm saying? That's something that we should all support because it's necessary, it's needed, and he has the marker of someone who can teach that to a demographic who is in dire need of those instructions. Because if not him, then who? Where else are these children going to be or are going to go in the next 10, 15, 20 years to leadership skills.
Righteous. Right.
So
All
I
right.
do support our brother.
Okay, we got brother Red in the building now. Red's got he's on with us. Both of the pills.
Yeah.
What's going
Peace,
on? Peace,
peace.
fam.
All right. Peace to the family. Peace to Blue Pill. Peace to
Peace,
all
God.
the family in the building. Salute. All right.
Righteous, righteous,
Um,
righteous. So
I
we were
was
just wrapping up a conversation about just start talking about the general state of what the conscious communities in. We was kind of just floating. We talked about the fear of the Black Planet a little bit. So
okay.
well, that's what we're wrapping up at.
Yo, we asked a dynamic, or he asked a dynamic question I'm going to pose to you, and we'll
Yeah.
take it from there. Do you think that there are more black people that are fearful of a black planet, or is it the other way around? You know,
Well, we're gonna address that in the lecture. You know, when we speak about Fear of a Black Planet Part 2, we're gonna open it up about the fear you have, because you have to keep in mind there's such a thing as self-sabotage. People who, self-sabotage the movement, or people who are basically self-sabotage this Black Planet or this Wakanda idea from coming about. So I don't think that there's more of our people that are fearful than it is of the opposition, only because of the genetic aspect of the whole situation. The reason why Professor Griff and Chuck D, Blue Pill, can you mute your phone for a
my
moment?
phone needs to be muted.
Yes, just for a moment.
All right.
The reason why they came up with the whole Fear of a Black Planet concept was they were inspired by Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, right? And her book, The ISIS Papers. So when you dig into the ISIS Papers and you understand the um, the neurosis or the psychosis behind the European and why they're doing what they're doing, not just to the African, but also to the Asian. Remember, the European has been at war with the Asian since time immemorial, starting from the Mongols. Some of the biggest wars that have been fought in the last 100 years, Korea, Vietnam, and World War II. America was fighting Japan. Don't fall for the okie doke. They was not banging with German. They wasn't banging on the Nazis. That's what Russia was doing. So there's this fear that the European has of subjugating anybody who's genetically superior than him. You dig what I'm saying? So I would say that the fear of a black planet is definitely more on that side, but
Yeah.
because of
The
the
entire, yeah, the
Go ahead.
entire American century,
Yes.
which was 100 years of 1900 leading to 2000, the majority of ass whooping and ass kicking that this European was engaging in and receiving was at the hands of what he calls the yellow man. Okay, the Asian was getting busy with this Caucasian all of the last century. He had his foot firmly up the backside of melanated people as well, and there was no fighting back to be spoken of. Granted, somebody bring me the book. I ain't read it yet, but the Asian was fighting back. The Asian is still fighting back. Matter of fact,
Yeah.
Facts,
just wanted to
facts.
put that on.
So because of the indoctrination that's taking place, like Blue Pill pointed out, the majority of their standing army is some niggas. You dig what I'm saying? Even when you go back into, when you really dig and you do the research on Rome, people have this idea of Rome being all Europeans. Rome was a cosmopolitan, Rome kind of, they were part of their standing army. Rome had niggas fighting for them. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So because of the indoctrination, because when you look at all of the wars that have taken place, like we're pointing out, when they go to war against the quote unquote yellow man, the niggas on the front line fighting for the white man. You got men shaking cups right now that are veterans that can't even get a meal to eat, and they went to Vietnam at the same time when people who look like me and you were being hung in the South and being lynched in the streets of New York, down south, West Coast, whatever. They found it in themselves to answer the draft. They didn't go the route of Muhammad Ali or my father. They didn't draft dodge. They went to them niggas packed their bags and went and fought a war that had nothing to do with them. So there's a high level of indoctrination. There's going to be more African American or Negroes holding up this empire that's fallen before them. They won't let it go. They're going to hold this shit up because there's welfare. You know what I'm talking about? Niggas got cable. There's a motherfucking NBA final season, NFL, Super Bowl. All of the trinkets that these European, there's Starbucks. You could eat it. You could drink at Starbucks now. You know, they won't lock you up because niggas put pressure on them. So the trinkets that America, the capitalistic society of America, has provided the Negro, and they lied to them and they indoctrinated them and had them thinking that they came from nothing. If they would have studied and know that this is really a downgrade from the empire that they came from, then they'd be like, nah, this ain't nothing. And don't look around the world. The world around the world is third world because of the European. It wasn't always third world. It wasn't always impoverished. There wasn't people eating out of trash cans in Central and South America and on the continent and in the Caribbean. That's a new concept. That's some shit that just happened when they came in with the IMF and they started raping these countries with the economic hitmen. It was paradise back in the days. So niggas are going to fight for that. They don't want to let that go. You know what I mean? They don't want to let that go. So we're going to have to face our own people before we face them. They're the buffer.
Indeed. Red Pill, this is Shaki, editor-in-chief of Get This Wisdom magazine. I've spoke with Blue quite a bit. This is my first. So looking into the fear of a black planet part 2, if I'm sitting in the audience, what is some of the message I can look forward to receiving from you all?
Okay, well, with my segment, I'm going to be introducing an ongoing lecture series called Fear of a Blackamoor Messiah. The reason why I named it Fear of a Blackamoor Messiah is because I don't want people to get confused and only point to one segment of our people. When I identify Blackamoor, I'm talking about all of us, black and more, because that was the title that they identified us as before they began calling us Negro, Black, and Colored. We were known as Blackamoors. Now, when the BIE or the Black Identity Extremists, the list came out or the report came out, the Blackamoors were identified. They had RBG, Nation of Islam, and the Washita or the MSTA. So they basically threw the net over all niggas. And I'm going to just be following up in this lecture series that we'll be doing on Sunday. I'll be following up that series to just point out some of the things that are taking place. We're in a very precarious time. There's rumors of a world war taking place. When there's a world war taking place, you have to have a contingency plan amongst the brothers and sisters that are in the community or that belong to the network. And I'm not talking about one organization. I'm speaking about all of the organizations that are being targeted, because when they have world wars, that's when they take the opportunity to start knocking the people off inside of the borders of America. So when you see that they're sending the troops to the border of Mexico, instead of, before they build a wall, they're sending the troops to the border. You got to ask yourself, are they sending the troops to the border to keep the people from coming in, or are they sending the troops to the border to keep niggas from coming out? And because we have a tyrant or a dictator, somebody that's not hiding their disdain for people of color or people of melanin inside of the Oval Office, you got to really sit down and say, we got to make some plans, family, because the empire is falling. Elijah Muhammad predicted the fall of America. If anybody goes and rereads that book, you'll be able to see the markers in front of you right now. But the $1 million question is, for everybody that went to see Black Panther and you love the idea of a Wakanda, of a nation of our own inside of the continent or even in the Americas, because Wakanda is a North American deity, right? We got to ask ourselves, 2020 is around the corner. Where's the contingency plan? Where's the 5-year, 10-year, 100-year plan that these other people, I've been reading about their 100-year plan for damn near 10 years now with this Illuminati exposure and all the Rothschilds and all of this stuff. Where is our plan? And who is leading the way? Who's carrying the plan out? You dig what I'm saying? Certain things are not to be talked about on YouTube, on the camera, but we got to sit down and we have to conceive a actual, not a reactionary plan, but a proactive plan. Because when something is falling, that means something else is rising. So if we can identify what's rising, we have to attach ourselves to what's rising the best way that we know how. We need allies. You know what I'm talking about? We need allies.
Yes.
We need people who are going to roll with us and understand what we the benefit that we bring to the table.
Righteous.
So in that lecture, I'm going to be bringing that aspect of the information, and I'm also going to be bringing solutions as well. So, you know, if you have, if there's anything that I missed in that question, you know, I'll be sure to cover it if you point it out.
No, sir. Thank you. I'm gonna pass it over to Brian to see if he has any questions for you, and let you to dialogue with the audience for a bit.
Okay. Yeah, I talked to Blue earlier about the fact that when we talk about like the Wakandas and we talk about having a full black planet and things, our movie, just having a nation, just having a space that we can call our own for real, for real. The my thing is I attach everything to business. So I talk about diplomacy and just small businesses merging together to create big corporations, putting our manpower together. And so like a Ron Green, you guys, your manufacturing ability, my manufacturing ability with my clothing brand. And then we'll be able to hire, you know what I'm saying? If Ron can't hire people himself, or I can't hire people by myself, I'll be able to hire people, you know what I'm saying? If we all came together, right? So they talking about they can deny people jobs because of dreadlocks. Now we'll be able to hire our own children, give everybody stock, all of these things. But how do we get people to not be so romantic with the idea of a Wakanda and not manifested in real life by doing those type of things, you know, getting that legislative power? Because you see how the cable companies merge together, and then then you got the web neutrality coming right behind it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what they're doing. I feel like we need to take our small businesses, make big corporations have stock in them, and start putting some money down when it comes to these elections and things until we can move, you know, weave all of them out. If we're talking revolution or exodus, that'd be like a revolution, but, you know, not a strategic revolution, and not just going to war like everybody wants to say.
Yeah, like not just jumping in front of the cannon. Now, I'm in total agreement to what it is that you're building on. I'm going to add on. I did an interview on Friday with a brother that goes by the name of Chaka Bars. He's very big on social media. He said to me that the Congo, right? The Congo on the continent is the closest thing to Wakanda that he's ever visited. He's been to about 40 different countries on the continent, right? There just was a meeting with the African Union, and I'm gonna use the disclaimer that I don't trust anything really coming out of the African Union, because they're the arm of the United Nations, and even people on the continent have a huge distrust for NGOs, which are non-governmental organizations, the African Union, and things of that nature. But there was a vote that just took place within the African Union with 54 different countries that are on the continent, where they're proposing free trade amongst all of the different nations or all of the different countries on the continent. Meaning that when there were times when African nations needed toilet paper, they were going to Europe. African nations needed dashikis, they were going to Thailand. African nations needed fucking, you know, oil and whatnot, and they were going to the Middle East. When everything that you need to have a functioning economic ecosystem is within all of these nations inside of Africa. They're being pillaged as we speak by the Asians, by the Indians, by the Europeans, by the Israelis, and the list goes on. We have to form a conglomerate of businesses inside the borders of North America. You know, the African American niggas, you know what I'm talking about? The people who all of the world is in love with, you know what I mean? Allegedly, according to people who travel, they come back and they talk about how revered we are around the world because of our knowledge, because we're the closest one to, you know, the person who's seen as the most dominant power in the world. That's the Western man, the Western European, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. But his sidekick is some niggas. You dig what I'm saying? So they look at us like, yo, Y'all don't know how y'all got the keys. So I was just in Houston at the Shrine of Black Madonna last week, right? Last weekend. They had something called a Buy Black Marketplace. When I saw the Buy Black Marketplace and I spoke to the coordinator and she said to me, she was like, Brother Red, can you help me coordinate these marketplaces around Black America? Because this is what we need. This is the 101. This is the building blocks of any nation building that you want to do. Anytime that you want to build a nation, you have to have a strong economic base. I don't care what nobody says that belongs to the quote unquote conscious community about we don't need economics. That's a farce, that Europeans have too much money for us to compete. I would say that to you, that if you hear that person talking, that's a responsible deadbeat Negro. That means that he doesn't take care of his children. That means that nigga don't pay no bills. He probably never paid rent. He don't got no motherfucking life insurance. That's somebody who is basically not really living life.
Right.
And the opposite of lived is devil or evil and whatnot. No, you need to compete. This is not about the white man. Leave that motherfucker out the conversation. He's the middleman. I'm talking about cutting him out. Anybody who's traveled around the world knows that there are markets that white people do not exist in. And those are the main markets: Asia, India, Africa, and other places. Okay, so like you said, why aren't we outsourcing our manufacturing and production to the places? You know that Haiti is manufacturing. They have factories where people are sewing, making clothes, doing all kind of stuff, kicking out products and whatnot. Why aren't we coming together as a conglomerate and getting on a plane, 20 of us,
Correct.
with $100,000 in a suitcase, or you can have it on a card, or you can have it in credit. Why aren't we just going to Haiti and saying, yo, I know y'all get paid $1 a week. We're going to raise that shit up to about $10. You know what I mean? Because, with this whole free trade thing, it's about taking advantage of depressed markets where motherfuckers are working in sweatshops. That's the whole kick of it all. Why don't we go to, if China's in Africa, I'm under the auspices that they're building factories for Africans to work and kick out products. Why aren't we getting off of planes together and pulling up on them and saying, yo, I want to open up an account with you. I want to source some of your fabric. I want to source some of your material. Matter of fact, we're gonna leave about 100 of us over here, and we're gonna build a bridge and leave 100 Negroes in Africa, because what the fuck are you doing in America besides struggling and hustling and running in the goddamn hamster wheel? We can afford to take 100 people and send them to Africa to be the motherfucking the foundation of our businesses, so we can hit them on WhatsApp and we could get this whole Silk Road going.
Righteous.
That would be
righteous. So moving forward, we also talked about earlier. We talked about is the conscious community dead because of all of the information being spread around and people not having any type of way of filtering it? Like, you got people who are going to take it and run with it. Like Blue said, people have taken a lot of his information, you know what I'm saying? So he's trying to filter it now. So like, keep his intellectual property safe. Is that what's tripping everybody up now? Because you had the cats, because like the Fear of a Black Planet, the first one was in 2010. You know what I'm saying? Now y'all here doing it again. Y'all revamping it. Blue spoke on the revamp being a part of everything that's happened now with like social media, all of that changing it. There's new points that you all can talk on. You know what I'm saying? So like, with that being said, with the social media, what do you say to those cats, and how do we get a handle on the people who see the information and then they run off with it instead of becoming one of the key players in the vision that you was just talking about?
Well, unfortunately, because we are in an era of competition, and that era of competition was ushered in through the debate era. You know what I mean? The rules have been kind of changed. Like, we can't harp on the golden era anymore. We can't talk about, well, back in the days, in my days, or during the Phil Valentine, Bobby Hemmett era, or even the Dr. Ben era. This is a new era. This is a hip hop inspired era, right? Because in like 08, 07, that's when the changing of the guards took place. and a lot of the elders basically hung their hats up and was saying, yo, we're retiring into, you know, family life, or we're just falling back and we letting all of the young bulls take over. That happened coincidentally at the same time that social media was being ushered in, Web 2.0. Nobody was necessarily taught the ups and downs or the pros and cons. You know, social media was basically, you know, people learned that shit as they went along. You know what I mean? But with social media, one of the cons of social media is that we are in the information age. But what Blue Pill probably pointed out, I'm not sure if he pointed it out, is that there's a deluge taking place. This is the flood. You know, in biblical stories or narratives, they talk about the flood or the deluge. Well, in this quote unquote Aquarian age where you see them dumping the water, this is a flood of information. And shows such as this, the YouTube channels that are seen as, you know, the ones that are credible, those are your filter systems, because they're supposed to bring the best of the best, the brightest of the brightest. They're supposed to show the viewing audience, nah, we don't fuck with all of that shit over there, but this is the pantheon of the trusted teachers. These are the people, and if they're not trusted, we don't fuck with them no more. We'll publicly say, yo, we used to rock with these people, but you know what I mean? Their credit is at zero. We don't rock with them. And that's the filter system. So for the people who are watching, they're able to say, okay, now, you know, we don't fuck with them. There's a new economy that has arose. It's called a trust economy. That's what Uber, that's what Airbnb, that's what all of these businesses that are in the billions of dollars, that's what they roll off of. Like I just got out of a Lyft, right? I don't do Uber. I got out of a Lyft, and they sent me a thing that said rate the driver, right?
Right.
So I had to put 5 stars or 1 star. Now, if I was in a car and the driver was talking crazy to me and treating me like the yellow cabs used to treat us, I would rate it at a 0, right? The driver is aware of that. So now he has to be on point because he belongs to the trust economy. If his integrity is not intact, he doesn't eat. So we have to apply some of the new economy. We have to apply some of the new things that exist in this new economy into this community in order to fix it. The blockchain has something called smart contracts. We're going to have to begin to introduce smart contracts, meaning that I will not release funds to you until you do the work. You know what I'm talking about? Shit like that. Like there's crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is dead. We have to revamp crowdfunding because that shit has been abused. It's been pimped. It's been motherfucking, you know what I mean? Like it's been utilized to basically to create distrust. So the upgrade to that is the blockchain, where everything is transparent, and Ethereum and the smart contracts and all of this new technology. So we got to be on top of technology, because technology is going to weed out a lot of the fuck shit that has been putting all kind of smirching the community. Because keep in mind, all of us are standing on the shoulders of people who had high integrity and character, who came before us. They kicked the door. I didn't have to kick any doors down. When I came into this shit, the door was already kicked down. I just walked in the motherfucking temple. You dig what I'm saying? I didn't have to do too much heavy lifting. You dig what I'm saying? I had to honor my father and my mother, so my days on the earth would be longer. I had to keep my character intact. I had to walk a certain kind of tightrope and a certain kind of line. I had to be an antagonist to certain protagonists, or protagonist towards the antagonist. Sometimes when you work like that, you get results. So I was always mindful that Dr. Sabi was looking down on me, or when he was alive, that he was still looking at us. He knew what was going on. I'm always mindful that Dr. Phil Valentine is aware of what's going on. I'm always mindful that Bobby Hemmett is aware. I'm always mindful that Dr. Delbert Blair, rest in peace. Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, rest in peace. All of the doctors who have left us, they came with a doctor title, but they did what they said that they came to do. Whatever their doctor title was, or whatever their doctorate was, like Dr. Sabi was health. He did that. Dr. Delbert Blair, he was a doctor of sciences and paranormal activity. Well, goddamn it, he laid it down and he prophesied things that are taking place right now. When a UFO pops out of the sky one of these days, We could thank that man for preparing us. You feel what I'm saying? Dr. Ben, he fulfilled what his title and his doctorate, what his role was. He didn't try to play, he didn't jump in other lanes and try to be something other. He wasn't running around talking about he was your leader. He was a doctor. He came to diagnose the sickness that he knows exists inside of our people. We got to denigrify. There's sicknesses we have to unpack. Nobody is talking about how do you come into the community? How do you get the nigga out of you? How do you denigrify? How do you get the demons out of you? How do you exercise? How do you atone? How do you deal with your core issues? I'm on my journey. I know how to do it. I'm on my journey, and I'm attracted to the teachers and to the information that helps me on my journey to make me a better person, to help me evolve, and to help me look in the mirror and transform and transmutate from base metal into gold. I could even eat some of the nasty meat that some of these niggas is laying out, and I know what meat to chew and what to spit out, because it's still a learning process. I'm learning from them what not to do, because this is about longevity. And me and my brother have been here for a very long time. We've seen a lot of Negroes come and go. We've seen a lot of niggas at their peak crash, get born. Somebody brought them back to life. Them niggas come back to life, crash again. Another nigga give them a shot of life. Then they get born again, crash again. So this is a recurring cycle. We've been seeing this happen over the years. So I'm aware of what's taking place around me. So I would never say that consciousness is dead. The energy or the spirit that controls consciousness is doing what it does. It's weeding the motherfucking fake from the real. It's weeding the toxicness. It's utilizing chaos to bring about order. It's an energy that I don't have my hand on that energy. I basically, if I fuck up, that energy will strike me down.
Righteous.
It's the ancestors. You understand? It's those shoulders that I was telling you that we're standing on, because if people act all Ashe-ish and all Hotep-ish, but then you don't think that you're being watched by powers greater than you, if you don't think that all of the shit that you're doing in the dark is not going to come to the light, if you don't think that you're not being guided and moved in certain directions by a power that's greater than you, then you're just playing with this shit. You don't really know what the fuck is going on. You don't even know what you belong to. So I don't think that it's dead. You know what I mean? I think that it has its phases. You know what I mean? I think that it recreates itself. Like, look at the woke shit that's going on. Look at the consciousness, the commercialization. Motherfucking Beyonce was at Coachella with the goddamn Aya Heru. You know what I'm talking about? The Black Panther fit. And I love, for all of my beehive, don't come and sting me. I'm not taking shots at the queen. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that I respect the progress. Trust the process. I'm not mad at her. I would rather her fake consciousness than to be on some super duper asleep knuckle dragger. You know what I mean? It's all about evolution. It's all about, we have to give everybody the opportunity to change, or the opportunity to grow, or the opportunity to evolve. Why? Because some of us was in shallow graves ourselves.
Facts. Righteous. So what can we expect from y'all new album? Y'all just dropped a new album, right?
Oh yes, it's called Twin the album. We can expect some shows over the summer. We're gonna link up with some of the brothers and sisters that are in the community doing music and making noise for this demographics, for this market, this niche market. But we also want to expand the market, so you could look forward to some videos coming forward, you know what I mean, of a high quality. Shout out to my brother Kambata. He has a video that they just put out called Black Magic. Shout out to brother Rich from the Holy Ghost album. Fire. You know what I mean? Fire. You know what I'm talking about? 4K. The shit could be on World Star on the top panel, and it will look like one of these top directors did it. So you could look forward to more music. We have a second disc coming out. We released one disc. The second disc, which is basically a lot of Blue Pills features, that's going to be released one day this week or next week. The physical copy is going to be a deluxe edition with a whole bunch of trinkets and whatnot with it. And like I said, we're going to be doing some visual treatments to some of the songs that we put forth, especially the title song Twin, featuring Mama Pill on the intro. She's not rapping. She's just it was just a little segment. I don't want nobody to be confused. Like, damn, everybody rapping now. But you know, that's coming up. That's coming up.
Red, you know we got the first conscious revolutionary music festival happening this year in Detroit, October 20th and 21st. It's over 30 performances going down. It's going to be a big thing.
I mean, you already know. I don't even gotta say it. Like, if there could be some room made for me and my bro in Cambada, you know, I can't even leave Cambada out because he's the executive producer and he's featured heavily. He's like Capadonna on the Ray and Ghost album. Like, you know, the brother's a musical genius. This is what he does. Like, me and my brother, we do this. You know, this is our side. This is what we do outside of the other things that we do. But certain people breathe this hip hop. This is their life. And maybe one day that could be my life. You know what I mean? And if I fall deep in love with it, then you know, maybe I'll just dedicate a lot more time and energy.
There's animals, you know. There's animals in the zoo. There's animals in the wild. They still animals, right?
That's right. You know what I mean? So
that nigga's in.
I want to just say thank you for coming up with that festival. That is genius. That's what the culture needs. Think about us, all of us right now, like at you know, on Sedgwick Avenue in the late 70s. Like hip hop came out in the mid 70s. This is us in the mid late 70s. So this is just the beginning of a time that I promise. I'm saying it from a vision that I had. It's gonna be very beneficial for all parties involved. You dig what I'm saying? The babies, the children, the elders, they're going to be able to become enlightened by a new golden era of what is known as conscious hip hop. You dig what I'm
righteous?
I'm not Kendrick, what Kendrick and J. Cole and all of them are doing, I salute all of that. I'm not one of these bougie conscious dudes that get all mad because, you know, people are utilizing information or the visual, the motifs of consciousness to express themselves like, oh, nah, that's fake. And that's that woke shit, and that's not real. Look, let people express themselves the way that they feel fit. You have to remain authentic, and you have to keep the bar at a certain level. Don't worry about them. They're only doing what they supposed to do. You, if you're 100% consciousness, you know what I mean? Your dashiki was made in Harlem and not motherfucking Asia, whatnot. Then, you know, keep it authentic. You know what I'm saying? You gonna be the trailblazer, but let them do what they do, and then you do what you do, and maybe one day we could meet at the motherfucking platinum party. But I salute them because they make our job easier. There's conversations that I can have with the youth right now, just bringing up a Kendrick Lamar song that it was a little harder to have a few years ago.
Facts.
I'm an optimist. You know what I mean? I'm an optimist, so I see the silver lining sometimes.
About that.
Before we go forward, I just got to make it clear. Shout out to Shanika Yates down in Kentucky, who actually developed the idea and the content for Core Music Festival. Get This Wisdom magazine and I believe Blue Beak Branding and Revolutionary Mind Cinema are sponsors of that event. That'll be going down this October 20th and 21st in Detroit, Michigan. I just had to make that clarification. Yes. So yeah, definitely. I'm going back on song.
I don't want to wait, we met at the Black Power Awards.
You met my partner, Callie Divine, down there.
Yes. And y'all had the beautiful setup, very professional. You dig what I'm saying? I got the magazine, Get the Wisdom magazine, and that's my daughter's name. So I was like, oh, that's crazy. So, you know, please keep doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have enough professionalism in the community at this point. It will come about, but you're definitely trailblazing, and you're raising, like I said earlier, raise the bar and keep it raised. and be an example for those who are looking for that perspective. You dig what I'm saying? Because
Righteous.
I deal with a lot of young entrepreneurs and people who want to become entrepreneurs, and they pay attention to everything that's going on in this community. And they're looking for, you know what I'm saying? They're looking for examples of greatness to follow. So continue doing what you're doing. And I promise you, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you've already heard this, but it's going to be very rewarding. You know what I mean? And shout out to the sister who came up with that core. And I'm hyped now. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I might even break out a new dance at the core.
Hey, yeah. And for the record, that's Shanika Yates with Conscious Critic. Y'all can catch her at Conscious Critic.
No doubt. Salute to the Shanika Yates.
Thank you, you both for coming on. So, looking specifically into, Fear of the Planet Part 2, Brian spoke upon this earlier, and I just wanted to face this question to you, brother. What was the motivation specifically to bring back the sequel, to create the sequel, and to present it here and now? What was the motivation behind that?
The motivation was threefold. The first motivation was me and Professor Griff and Supernova Slum was in Baltimore this summer. You know, Baltimore is the murder capital of the U.S. right now. And we did a lecture out there, and the chemistry was wonderful. The chemistry was beautiful. You know what I mean? The people were elated by the way that we were all working off of each other. So me and Griff had a conversation afterwards about doing more work in the future. And then two, when we brought up the fact that that was me and Blue Pills, one of our first lectures. I mean, we did Blueprint 322 in New York City in 2009. And I think The Fear of a Black Planet was like our third lecture that we did. And that was a classic. Like, in the Blue Pill, the world needs to hear again. You know what I mean? So we were thinking about how could we recreate this classic again? And it was the right time. You know what I mean? That's the third reason. Like, timing is everything. And the condition of the community, because we're not just going to keep it focusing on outside of self. We're going to deal with inside of self. That's where Blue Pill comes in with the health and all of that. You got to deal with your temple first. You're at war. There's a war going on inside of self right now. There's a fear of a black planet that white man that's inside of your mind or your head, he's at war with the Wakanda inside of you. You know what I mean? So we got to deal with that. Then we got to deal with our community, because remember, it's a Negro that's going to look just like you who could touch you quicker than the white man. Facts. 89% of our people who got done dirty, it was from niggas that look just like them. So we got people in the community that are definitely moving like COINTELPRO right now. We got people in the community that are running with the police and doing police tactics. So we're going to have to talk about these things and make our people aware of the traps. You know what I mean? This whole black identity extremist thing, this is an open war or an open declaration of war on consciousness, and people are being very lackadaisical with it. So there's certain things that I'm just not going to be participating in the public anymore, because the majority of people in the federal penitentiary is in there for conspiracy. You can't even conspire anymore. You know what I'm talking about? So you got to be very mindful. And I coined the whole COINTELPRO 2.0. Coin is the bag. It's the money. It's the Bitcoin all the way down in the penny, right? They're attracting a lot of our people with this fiat, with this money. You know what I mean? They're buying niggas out. Telecommunications. The whole Facebook thing with Cambridge Analytica is showing you all of your telecommunications is being tapped. There's no such thing as privacy. The pro is the GoPro. That's the camera. That's the surveillance. A lot of people are being surveilled. They're watching a lot of people. Your phone is watching you. This laptop is watching us. They got the goddamn sky in the eye and whatnot. All of the cameras are set up on the light poles. So you got to move very militant minded these days. Like, we can't just move any old kind of way, because like I was saying earlier, if a world war is declared, the same way that when Vietnam War was taking place, they was knocking the revolutionaries off. Because what happened? The front line went to fight the war.
Right.
The front line said, I'm gonna go get drafted, I'm gonna go to Vietnam, and they left the revolutionaries in America, and then they start knocking them off. So you know that there's a list out. You know they got you know what I'm talking about? You know that they got names, faces, IP addresses, all of that shit lined up.
Geolocation.
Yeah, all of that. So we're gonna have to talk about it. The timing is perfect to present part 2 of nigga, get on point. You know what I'm talking about? Get on point and stop playing with your lives, because we have children, we have elders, we have parents, we have family members, we have people who are coming behind us. There's more, you know what I mean? Like, we can't afford no missteps at this point in time. The morality of the people is already in the toilet. We can't afford any more missteps. So we're gonna deal with all of that on Sunday, next Sunday, April 22nd, in Atlanta, Georgia, in the West End, the Black West End, where we're gonna ask the question: who's ready to come and invest into the West End? You know what I mean? Like, where are these communities? Where are all these houses and this real estate and all of this land that Negroes was talking about they bought and they owned for the last 10 years? I need to see it. You know, there's nothing going on. You know what I'm talking about? There's really nothing going on in this community in the last 10 years.
Show me an apartment.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Show me a lease, something. So, you know, we're going to get into it. And, you know, it's going to be very informative. You know, Professor Griff, you already know what he brings to the table. And I mean, I'm sure he's been sitting on a chock full of information. Blue Pill is a beast. You know what I mean? And I try my best. I try to do what I got to do. And I'm going to show up.
We appreciate all you brothers, man. No doubt. Like, y'all keep us going, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've learned a lot from Red, Blue, and Griff, Ollie, man. And like right now, like I'm like almost starstruck. I keep running into stars. When RMC was like stars to me. When I became a member of Revolutionary Mind Cinema and I was kicking with them and we was sleeping together, like that blew my mind. You know what I'm saying? And talking to you brothers right now, and it's just blowing my mind more. Griff was on the call yesterday. He was live yesterday. And he looked down. He saw me. He was like, "Brian, I'm trying to get back to Kentucky, make it happen." I was just like, "Oh, hold on." You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's just like it's crazy, man. I'm loving it.
No doubt. Salute to Kentucky too, man. When we came in Kentucky, we've been there twice. We was at the Muhammad Ali Center for the Knowledge Fest, and then we were there last year in the hood. We was in the hood for real.
I was down the way. Y'all was down the way last time y'all came.
44.
I was down there on Market. Yeah. And I'm from CNG. I'm from 39th and Greenwood, so Little Africa. So
okay. And it was like we did an outdoor lecture. It was like a mini block party, and the love was powerful, bro. It didn't matter that we was in the hood. We was home. Fact. So Kentucky love, even Indiana. We was in Indiana. They was showing love. So salute to all of the brothers and sisters down there. And we look forward to coming back. We'll be there, if not this summer, early in the fall and whatnot. We're gonna pull up.
Okay. All right, I'm definitely gonna get with you brothers when y'all come down too.
No doubt.
For sure. So anybody heard from Griff? Shakti, you heard from Griff? Is he gonna make it? Or we just gonna rock it out?
No, I haven't. The brother's probably very busy. No problem with that. We still got the twin pillars in the building who are legends within their own right. Been teaching the people since I was yay hot to a toilet. and I'm feeling like Brian right now. I'm like, oh my God, you know. And the fact that both of you are just so humble and you know, so approachable and you love your people and you're genuine with that embodies that ancestral love that we all possess and that we all need to remember and put in the forefront of our minds and in our spirits when we're doing this work, because it's very hard to get caught up in ego doing this work. It's very hard to get caught up in so many different things when we're supposed to be here to carry on
ego.
You know, so I just want to say thank you humbly to both of you. And Brian, you as well. You know, you're very powerful, brother. And I'm moved to emotion right now. So thank you both very much.
I want to make a statement, and I want to say I'm
Welcome.
honored for that, for what it is that you said. But I want to add on to that a lot of the teachers that you see that are being brought forward, or that are in front of these cameras, or and in front of the world for that matter, because this is a worldwide phenomenon that's taking place, quote unquote, called consciousness. Whoever your elder is, meaning whoever brought you into the light, or whoever co-signed and whoever put you on that stage, right? It's very imperative that the example that they set is the example that you move with. The example that I've always been able to draw, or always been able to look at, is what Dr. Sabi showed me and my brother when we were damn near my son's age. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He was one of the most approachable, humble brothers who you could ever have met. Did he have some fire for that ass? Yes. I done seen him flame on and torch a few people in my lifetime. But that was because it was called for. But he was so personable, right? He was approachable. He was the people's champ. He would talk to them barefoot. He would drop to his knees and all of these other things to show them. And he would always let them know, I am not better than you. I am you. I'm only reminding you of some shit that you forgot. Okay? Don't worship me. I'm not a leader. I'm a healer. And then I have another teacher, a master teacher, Dr. Phil Valentine, who I was intimidated by when I was one of his students. I thought he was unapproachable. You know what I'm talking about? I had to watch what I said. I remember going to Phil Valentine and trying to sound deep the first time. Excuse me, beloved. But the parameters, you know what I mean? And he's like, nigga, you know what I'm saying? Like, cut it out. Just be you. And I'm only bringing that up to say that there have been examples that have been set for us. So those examples that were set for us, we're trying our best to set it for others. If you claim that your community, the key word community or nation building, how can you be nation building if your fucking ego is on fleek? How could you be in a community if you're not approachable? How could you be in a community if you're not one of the community? That's when you're dealing with dictatorships. These are the warning signs of somebody who will be a Jim Jones, Malachi Z. York kind of character. And that's no shots to him. I'm just saying that there was a lot of talk about him abusing his powers. I didn't get out the streets. I didn't get out of flirting with death in the hood to come into this community to fuck with some big-headed Negroes who ain't even from the streets. You know what I'm talking about? These niggas is from their mama's basement. You dig what I'm saying? And they're taking advantage of social media, the fact that you could talk crazy inside of a microphone, but you're not going to do that in front of the people. You could get hit with chairs. You know what I mean? And when that was the modus operandi that you had to get in front of the people in order to get co-signed by the people, you didn't see this kind of activity. Niggas was in check. Their egos were in check because they would get booed off of the stage or they would get pulled off of that stage worse.
I never ever in my life seen a lecturer show up to a lecture with security back in the days.
Never.
It was unnecessary. And you know, Khaled and all of them were flamethrowers. They had death threats, and you know what I'm saying? Like, well, let me take that back. I probably did see Farrakhan show up to a few events, and he had the NOI formation in front of him. You know what I mean? But we understood what that was about. Like, niggas ain't show up with bulletproof vests and guns and shit like that. At what point are you, you know what I'm saying? Like, what sort of information are you, what sort of volatile information are you teaching your people where you need that level of security?
Fact.
It's funny. It's funny you bring that up, Blue. I did a speaking engagement about 2 years ago, and I won't speak upon the brother's name because he's well known. However, He did a lot of popping off on social media, like just on some real street stuff. And I'm like, come on now, King. I used to look up to you. And I did the speaking engagement and the brother was there and he was quiet as a church mouse. I said, these people were letting social
Trying to
media
tell
get
you,
them in.
trying to tell you. And because there's no detriment to that activity, it's going to continue until it gets checked, until somebody's made an example of, because there's no one has a deterrent. No one can look at that situation and say, damn, I don't want to end up like such and such. It's a fly zone. Like no one's plane got shot down yet. So they just think that it's cool. And this is going on for too long. I'm not wishing harm or nothing on nobody, but enough is enough. You know what I'm saying? Like this is not how the real world operates. You know, they in the streets is they checking niggas in the streets daily. Like that whole drill movement is about, you know, them responding to social media activity and then taking it to social media. So our children are engaging in that level of activity differently. They're responding to it. No one is getting away with anything. You know what I mean? Necessarily. It's catching up to them. But in this community, they're getting away with murder. You know what I'm saying? And it's very childish. And you see what has become as a result of that. Children, you know, with no parental guidance whatsoever, acting like children and grown folk listening to them. What do you call that? That's like the same situation where people my age are listening to hip hop still. They're on the radio trying to jack for little Uzi Vert in them. You know, what the hell are you doing listening to music coming from 18 and 19-year-olds? Like they can't teach you
Facts.
nothing about life. You feel me? And they shouldn't be
Facts.
able to catch a vibe that you're grooving to either. Like we're not even from the same place generationally wise. You know, we don't prescribe to the same things. You're supposed to be teaching the youth. The youth is not teach. What are they teaching you? What that
Right.
Molly be about? How to make Molly water? Like, come on now. It's retarded. So yeah, like some things are gonna have to change in consciousness, you know, for it to progress and move forward. The very things that you're talking about. And people are gonna be crying when it happens. They're gonna be all up in arms and talking about how the community is not together. But it needs to happen and it's gonna happen. All right. Somebody's gonna fall on their face and it's gonna be public and it's gonna be ugly. You dig what I'm saying? But it's necessary, you know?
Facts.
We had a question in the chat box real
Yeah.
quick.
God is with the shits.
The question was, how long are you going to be in Houston?
In Houston.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm back in New York. I was in Houston for about a week. Yeah, and
Okay.
yeah, it was a beautiful thing. We did a pop up lecture in the third ward with a brother by the name of Pop Darby, who has a wonderful program that he's putting together. Different people are organizing to come together to build one full organization, because the key to this whole thing is we have to become organized. I don't care about I don't care if somebody is in a Muslim organization. It doesn't matter right now anymore, because when niggas went out last night to the turn up club or whatever, when they pulled up in an Uber, they didn't ask the person, "Yo, what's your faith, my nigga?
Facts.
What organization do you belong in before you hop in the foreign?" You know what I mean? Niggas just pull up and they do what they got to do. We're attributing these false ideas and concepts to life the way that we don't live life like that. If you are right, if you a stand-up individual, if you about your people, if you about building, if you about your family, and you ain't no coward, I could see something in you. I'm not a disagreeable entity. I don't have core
Yeah.
issues that make me disagreeable with everybody
Um,
that I'm around. I'm not one of them niggas. You know, the nigga who be in the bathroom looking at everybody's penis when they peeing? I'm not that guy. A lot of these niggas is like they pocket watching and all kind of stuff. You know what I mean? They're
yeah,
worried,
they rocket watching,
rocket
they
watching,
pocket watching. Look,
and sword fighting.
look, yeah.
Sword
If you
fight.
Muslim, you understand? I'm gonna pray with you. If you Christian, nigga, I might even go to church with you
Mm.
because for organizational purposes, I need to form some sort of solidarity with you. So when I ask you to do the things that are most uncomfortable, you know what I mean, to sacrifice for whatever the goal is at hand, you could be like, yo, I consider you my brother. You know what I'm saying? You just like us. Why not? You
Yo,
understand?
you got
But
Negroes.
when it come down, hold on. When it come down to the come down, and we got to make a move, and then that's not the time to be questioning. Damn, do I really know this person? Do I trust this person? Is it worth it? How are you gonna form familiar bonds, family bonds with somebody? You know what I'm saying? If you're not doing things that's integral to that person's level of comfort, if that's how they rock and if that's what they get down with, you know what I'm saying? It's not really no detriment to you to say, it's just like how my mama said, you know, when you go to somebody's house and they offer you something to eat, you know, you have to be respectful. You go to certain cultures and certain continents, you can't turn it down like, nah, I'm vegan, I'm good. You know, no, nigga, you gonna eat them goat gizzards and you gonna do that in that little village. You know what I'm saying? Or it's gonna be the ultimate slight, and you're not gonna get forward. You're not gonna get open access to anything. They're gonna They're gonna look at you like you goofy, like you came over here to stun on us to act as if you better than us. These are our customs and traditions. As long as it's not gonna kill you, you feel me? Then you should be willing to implore some level of diplomacy, you know, to make a person feel like a person. Fuck your personal decisions and how you feel about certain things. You need to keep that to yourself. You know, and that's the issue with this community.
Yeah.
You got people on YouTube telling other people how they should live their lives, what's right and what's, oh, we don't like this because of this. I don't like this for me, so the community shouldn't like it either because it's no good for you. You don't even know people's personal stories. How you telling somebody what's good for them or not? And you living in the fucking basement. Come on now. This shit is
Yeah.
crazy, man.
So yeah, like individuals work with white supremacists. Individuals work with pedophiles. I'm just saying, like, they got people whose on their job is pedophiles, white supremacists. You know what I'm talking about? Niggas is working with niggas with swastika tattoos on their neck. They don't got a problem with that. They don't say, yo, I can't work with these people. Your ass pulls up to motherfucking Roy Rogers and flips, horse burgers with a white supremacist or a child, whatever the fuck niggas be doing out there. And then they get on the internet and talk about what they can't do and what they leave them niggas alone. Like, I don't deal with disagreeable type of people when we're at war. You know what I mean? I'm working on how to build organizations and organize so we could go over to the continent and how we could clean up this motherfucking hood. You dig what I'm saying? And it's not going to happen by fracturing something that's already fractured. Leaders, real leaders, bring people together. Okay? Real
Righteous.
leaders, the power of a leader is he knows how to find the similarities in individuals who are allowed to be individuals. Remember in Wakanda, how many tribes were there? One of them niggas was using a click, click, click. The other niggas was who, the Jabari tribe. They beating on their chest. And T'Challa and them, they had their own dialect. There were 5 or 6 different tribes that were allowed to operate and function in Wakanda. And that's what actually made Wakanda Wakanda. Nobody was saying, yo, now that T'Challa is the Black Panther, all you niggas got to drink the purple leaf and what? No, they was allowed to do what the fuck they got to do. They were allowed, that nigga who was riding on a rhino, they wasn't saying, nah, you got to come and ride on a giraffe. No, they was, do you. Do you. But when it's time to come together and protect the border, and when it's time to come together and work, and we're identifying outside covert and overt enemies, we're gonna come together and form Voltron and move on that. So I don't know. In 2018, 2020 is around the corner. It's not a lot of conversations to be had anymore. You know what I'm talking about? June 3rd, New York City, Dr. Phil Valentine, Brother Panic. I see the Duke of Tears, the meeting of the masters, the metaphysical masters. Brother Rich, he's gonna be doing that in Brooklyn. You dig what I'm saying? That's the kind of upgrade that I'm trying to pull up to. I ain't with, like, you know, we got to talk about the future in a way that's at a higher level, because it's not game time anymore. It ain't been game time, and it's definitely not game time anymore. You dig what I'm saying? So that I'm gonna just leave it on that.
Indeed, Brian. Do you have anything else you would like to add on or ask the twin pillars before we let them depart for the evening?
Nah, I think we should let them go, Gary. We took enough of their time, but yeah, we definitely appreciate y'all, man. Y'all keep doing what y'all doing, man. We would be lost without y'all. You know what I'm saying? Y'all powerful dudes, man.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to be here.
Indeed.
twinthealbum.com. twinthealbum.com. All right. We got album 1 up there. Album 2 should be up there by tomorrow. You know, like the brother said, we got some visuals coming. It's a lot of content. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of music. It's a lot of anthems. A lot of thought provoking content. It's a lot of cloth talk. You feel me? And it's just something that you could play to your youth them. You know what I'm saying? For your little ones to be they're not trying to jack nothing that you're talking about when you try to sound all scholastic and talking about consciousness. They like, nah, son,
Now
I'm
turn
trying
up.
to listen to famous decks. Yeah. You know, they want to get on their turn up. You know, we made music for them too. You know what I mean? So try it out. You know what I mean? You're not losing out on nothing. It's a wonderful experience. Um, at Blue Pillar 44, that's on IG if you need to holler at me. Blue Pillar 44 at Gmail if you need to shoot me any emails. Soulgoldbiz.com, SOLEGOLDBIZ.com. That's my website for my gold drops. You know, everybody mysteriously found out about gold in the bottle, and that's the wave right now. So, apparelnormal.com, that's my clothing company. And my CMOS will be back on the market in about 3 or 4 weeks. I was trying to have it in Atlanta. I will have it in Atlanta in a venue, but my website is under maintenance right now. So, you know, that's how we keep the lights on. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole aspect of my serial entrepreneurship. You know what I'm saying? And I want to see more businesses come together this year. Like our good brother said, you know, we need to tackle manufacturing. We need to tackle distribution as well. You know, it's
And
a lot of things that we can stand and tackle as a community and have fun doing it. Like this is how you really get to know one another. This is how you really cut your teeth and really become, you know what I'm saying, brothers and sisters in a movement, you know, creating better situations for your business and for your employees and for your community, you know, for your culture and for your movement. You know, we have the power to do all of these things right now. You know what I mean? And it needs to be done. So I look forward to the participation of everybody involved, all hands on deck. And I really look forward to hitting that stage in Detroit in October. And I'm talking about
Righteous.
Already.
shit.
Red Pill, do you have anything else you want to add, God? Do you want to, shout out? First off, drop the information for the lecture, Fear of a Black Planet Part 2, where they can buy tickets, come on out and get some of that good knowledge, where they can get in touch with you for booking and all of that good stuff.
yes,
The
yes.
floor is yours.
Um, First and foremost, next Sunday, April 22nd. All right, from the hours of 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Let me get the exact address. We're gonna be in the West End of Atlanta. All right, the historic West End on Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard. If anybody is from Atlanta, you know where that's at, right across the street from the West End Mall. I mean, where the West End Mall is at, and we'll be
Mhm.
right across the street from Soul Vegetarian at the Wadada Juice. It's like a juice bar, but it's basically going to be a lecture hall, a spot that we're going to be doing a lot of stuff at. You know what I mean? 878 Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard, the Wadada Juice Bar, Professor Griff. You already know, Brother Red Pill, Brother Blue Pill, and some surprise, special guests. You never know. And the day before in Lithonia at the Black Dot Bookstore, I'll be doing something with Sister Soleil, Professor Griff's wife. Professor Griff and I myself I'm going to be presenting the Facts 2020, a solution-based presentation as well that we'll be introducing to the family. So
Yeah, I'm crashing that event, and
yeah, Blue's crashing out.
we got invited as well to perform on the same day that we're doing the lecture on
Yeah,
the 22nd. Uh, they have an event in the same area. Shout out to my homegirl Sharice Nicole. So we're gonna hit the stage, tear that down, and then head
yeah,
over to the lecture hall. We might do it during the break.
yeah. We're gonna power up,
You
yeah,
know, yeah,
power up, get drippy, and then go do the lecture.
yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? So definitely, if the family's in Atlanta, they can look forward to that. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get everything that you bargained for. You know what I mean? For the low low. So be
Facts.
in the building, KTL and the ATL. We look forward to it. We always have epic presentations in Atlanta and something about that grid. And this is gonna be no different. You know what I mean? I told them the last one was full of prophecy. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, it was.
I
That's
sat
why.
back and I prophesied the whole shit. Somebody messed the tape up, so I don't even know if there's a taping of that. But they got Griff's and Red's part, but I don't think they got my part. But nonetheless, everybody in the building they bore witness to it, and we saw it all unfold over time. So I'm gonna give, I'm gonna dig deep and see if I can come up with some more prophecies. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, we definitely gonna have that cloth talk in the building. Some righteous demonstrations, some some good content. Some do some good commerce. The products will be in the building as well.
Yes.
Hopefully, we'll have that double album physical copy with us. And yeah, sky's the limit from here.
Yeah,
Mm,
kingscounty.bigcartel.com for the clothing, for the conscious clothing. kingscounty.bigcartel.com, KINGZKOUNTY like Blue said, twin the album for in which you could stream the album to it. You could go stream the album, purchase it after you finish streaming it. It's a collector's item. Put it up, you know what I mean? Put it up somewhere. And Red Pillar at Patreon. That's the Patreon. I gotta plug the Patreon, I'm talking about. Shout out to all of the Patreons who have invested in our creative process. You know what I mean? They're one of the main reasons why we were able to knock out the album over the winter and get it out to the family. So, I just leave it at that. I don't want to overload the family with too much information. That's good enough. My handle is EL_Filthmore, PHILTHMOOR. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter. For all bookings and for all inquiries, just do me a favor and hit me on the DM. You know what I'm saying? Slide in the DM. You know what I'm talking about? And I'll be sure to answer you and get back to you in due time. And we also have an app that's going to be re-released, but we'll let you know about that in the very near future. So with that being said, I just want to say I'm honored to be on the show. Thank you for inviting us. We look forward to coming back. Probably in the summertime when we got some things going on, and we catch back up with y'all and just give y'all an update. You know what I mean? Keep up,
most definitely.
no doubt.
Most definitely. You're welcome here anytime. Mi casa is su casa.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Brian, do you have anything else you want to add before we wrap it on up?
Just you know where to find me at on Facebook. You can find me at my name, Brian Liggins. Instagram, Brian Liggins. You go find me at Top Half also. That's TOPHAFF. That's the clothing brand. Revolutionary Mind Cinema. We still got the documentary Revolutionary Exodus that Jonah is coming soon. We wrapping it up.
Yeah,
Just
shout out to
wrapping it up.
Preach.
We gonna get it.
Shout
Yeah.
out to Keith. Shout out to Preach. Shout out to everybody that's behind that project.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
saw some of the making of
Shout out to the family.
Baltimore. You know what I mean? I saw some of the makings of that project, and I saw the trailers, and I'm very excited to to see that piece of work, and also to share it with the brothers and sisters that are out here that need to, you know what I mean, to just hear the insight and the wisdom from some of the frontliners that are out here right now. You know what I mean, doing the work. So salute to all of your endeavors, your clothing line, your film endeavors, all of your endeavors. Salute to Wisdom Magazine. You know what I mean? All of the endeavors, everything that y'all, all of the seeds that you're planting, everything that you want to do. I just want to say, manifest that shit. You know what I'm talking about? We could sprinkle some panic pack. We sprinkle the
Yeah,
panic.
yeah.
Yeah, this
It's
panic.
a new
This ain't that one.
we in a new moon. We're in a new moon. You know what I'm saying? So we invoke
Retrograde
it for
done.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Beyonce.
retrograde is done.
Yeah,
She
Beyonce
shut
ended
that
the
thing down.
retrograde at
Yeah,
Beychella.
Beyonce.
Push that shit aside. You know what I'm talking about?
So, we invoke unlimited success for you, family. You know what I'm saying? And for
Thank you.
everybody
Thank you.
involved with the operation, continue to push forward. You know what I mean? Do not fall for the distractions. All right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
Peace,
Thank you.
y'all.
Thank you. It's definitely been an honor. Shout out to Professor Griff.
Shout out to
Congratulations
Griff.
on your
Facts.
news. Yeah, be in the
And the Alchemist.
building. Definitely. Be in the building for the and if you're in Atlanta, be in the building for Black Planet Part 2. It's gonna be fire, it's gonna be
Amazing.
electric. I wish I was in Atlanta, but I'll be sending my energy from Detroit.
I was
You
definitely
know,
gonna try to make it.
definitely. And before we wrap up, I just want to add on real quick. You know what, family? It's a lot going on, but ultimately everything is in ancestral time, divine time. And so stay the path, stay the course, and submit to the process. Heal, do the work that's necessary daily. Shout out to Knowledge Born for hooking this up. You know,
Shout
peace
out
to
to
the God
knowledge.
for that. Definitely. And so this summer,
Yeah, peace
it's
to the
going
God.
down this year. Detroit is the place to be. After you go see Fear for Black Planet Part 2, you come to Detroit just this July for the Black Love Extravaganza. The homosexuals got their party. We having our party. We turning it up righteously this summer. And then come back that October for the Core Music Festival. October 20th and 21st. Detroit is about to turn up like never before. Get your tickets now for the Black Love Extravaganza. Those are available on Eventbrite. And then the Core Music Festival, those tickets will be available either the beginning of next month or the end of next month. Uh, Go to the website, www.getthiswisdommagazine.com. Grab the latest issue, the Black Love edition. And then we're collecting material for the Huey, the I said the Huey, pardon me. The Beauty, Health, and Fitness edition. We are
Booty
accepting
woo!
submissions.
Peace.
We're looking for clothing designers. So if you want your clothing line reviewed in the next issue, get with me. Get this wisdom at gmail.com.
All right.
Until next time,
Or just
peace, love, and Black Power family.